lot of players have struggled with the lag this week. Let's see how these two do.
Johann Chua wins the lag.
Well, it seems Johann Chua's got it dialed down. I think it was touching the rail, Michael, wasn't it? It was close.
That was just about perfection.
So Johann Chua from the Philippines.
The first rack.
With the legend Efren Reyes
Johann Chua
just
to break.
his left. Will get this match underway. Chua to break. Wonderful break to start the match off. Obviously he's trying to pop the one in the side, which he does so. Yeah, cue ball got a little flick off the purple 5, but he does have a shot on the blue 2. But these are never as easy in the very first rack. I mean, this is his first shot of the match. And it's a long pot, and he's got to play it with a bit of right-hand spin. But if he knocks it in, it can't half make you feel good. Oh, he hit that pure, he hit it really nice. Just killed the cue ball like it was easy.
Johann Chua, born May 92, so recently turned 32 years of age. Number 68 in the world rankings, and to some extent, being that far down is attributable to a limited schedule of events. But it's also down to a lot of early exits, because he did play a fairly full matchroom schedule last year and didn't go deep in the events, the individual ones, that is.
Yeah, he's definitely a higher ranked player than what his ranking is at the minute. He's a top 32 player on tour for me.
The last matchroom big field event that we saw was the UK Open last month in Telford, and Chua actually didn't make the single elimination at all. Got to winner's qualification, lost to Ko Pin Yi, and then was knocked out by Chang Yu Lung on the loser's side. So didn't even make the final 64 there.
Cue ball may have to go up and inside and out of the kitchen off the top rail. Green ball does go in this pocket. He could also play into the rail and just flick the 8 ball. Potted it clean. It was a good break. It was a good opening shot on the blue 2 just to kill the cue ball, and then the rest has been a doddle. That's why you want to win the lag, Michael, isn't it? You don't think it's important. You just think, well, it's just the start of the match, but if you can put a 2 or 3 pack together and keep your opponent in the chair, it's very important.
Yeah, and in a match that looks fairly evenly matched going into it, well, 3 racks, let's say, to start off, that makes an enormous difference. So won the lag comfortably in this case. Very efficient thereafter. Johann Chua, break and run in the opening rack to lead Mohammad Soufi 1-0 in the last 16 of the World Championship. Now, Mickey Kraus of Denmark has won the first rack of his match against Dang Jin Hu. And this is Eklund Kachi, back on the circuit after that dreadful car accident he had last summer. And playing well here into the last 16 and about to take the opener against Mark Boisterbosch. Kachi, if he were to win this, Carl, it would not be the slightest surprise to anyone.
No, and this is also off the break. Kachi won the lag, he broke the balls, so he's going to start his final 16 match with a break and run.
Mark Boisterbosch, who so nearly won that Spanish Open, as I said, last summer, and now working with Alex Lely, the former European Mosconi Cup captain. They've been together for almost a year now, with Lely guiding his compatriot. Seems to be working well at the moment. Will still be race to 11 all day today, and indeed for the semi-finals tomorrow, and then increases to race to 15 for the final tomorrow night.
Rack 2, Johann Chua to break, leading by 1-0.
Also, the first break from Chua, potting the one in the side, just means he's found the sweet spot right off the gate, so this break will feel a little easier. There's the 1 ball, also pots to 2, 3 balls got a chance, but where's the cue ball going to finish? Good news for Sufi and Sufi fans, because Chua's going to have to play a push out here. And the 3 ball is near that pocket, so that's going to make the push somewhat more difficult. The idea with the push is you don't
Push out called.
roll the cue ball into a position where you leave something easy, otherwise your opponent's going to play the shot.
Mohammad, it's your choice.
Yeah, he's rolled out into a jump shot. He was in a tricky position.
First shot of the match then for Sufi, if he takes it, of course. He also had a birthday recently. He's now 31.
Play again, please,
29th
Johan.
in the world rankings. He has given it back.
Foul shot.
That decision has worked out very much in his favour. So a chance for
Ball
Sufi
in
to get
hand.
stuck in here.
You know, I don't blame Sufi for putting Chua back in.
Please start the clock.
It was a tricky jump shot. You know, he had to hit the 3 quite thin. It was hard to control the cue ball, so that little game of chess, Sufi's got the better.
Remarkable to think, as we see them play each other in the last 16 of the World Championship, that neither of them got to the 64-player single elimination stage of the UK Open last month. I told you about Chua's results there. Sufi got to losers qualification and lost to Mieszko Fortunski, the Pole who went on to finish runner-up. This just really illustrates everything we say about Sufi, Carl. This rack is just going to be over in the blink of an eye.
You know, we talk about the speed he plays the game and his life story, but he's such a nice man. Obviously, I had to do that feature of him last night after his last 16 down by the fountain. Such
Mohammad
a nice
Soufi
fella, Michael,
wins the rack.
really is.
And he's level at 1-1. So much at stake here. Obviously, the dream of becoming world champion is on the line. Massive prize money as well, though. Unprecedented prize money. $1 million in total. A quarter of that will go to the winner. And you know, Carl, what really stands out for me there is the prize money differential. How quickly it now goes up. The difference between winning and losing this match alone is 12,000, and then pretty much double your money from that point on. And even more than that in the final. The difference of 150,000 between winning and losing. For these guys, that's pretty much life-changing in itself.
Well, when you look at it, Michael, UK Open about a month ago, $30,000 to the winner. The winner of this match gets $27,000.
Efren Reyes won a few dollars, didn't he? Estimated total career prize money of about $2 million.
Yeah, I wonder what Batarreas makes of all this. He's played in many a pool tournament, but I wonder what he makes of this arena, Michael. He must have stepped in here and thought, wow, this is spectacular.
You have to say, though, the arena he won it in Cardiff, that was
Rack
pretty
3,
good.
Mohammad Soufi to break. The match is tied, 1 rack each.
Yeah, well, of course, when Ephraim won the World Championships, it was still run by Matchroom Pool back then, Matchroom Sport. So we would expect nothing else. Oh, this is also a good break. Where's the cue ball? It needs to stop. And it has stopped. He's got issues here, though. He can pot the 2, but he can't really get the cue ball moving because of where it's finished. And the pink 4 and the purple 5 is horrible. Eklund catch it back to back break and runs over on table 2 as he takes the opening 2.
That's against Mark Boisterbosch, and Mickey Kraus is in a similar position, 2-0 up on Dang Jinhu.
Do you remember a couple of seasons ago, Michael, when I'm not sure if you got asked or not, we got asked to pick a player, like a future one-to-watch player. Did you get asked the question?
Been asked that a couple of times. Can't remember which year you're referring to.
I think they put it in the Mosconi Cup magazine one year or something, but I actually picked Mickey Kraus a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, it's been talked about for a long time, and I said that to someone the other day. Oh yeah, Mickey Kraus, for years people have said he's got big potential, and they can't believe that because he's still only 23, but he was talked about at a very early age, and this really is the week when he's shown everyone exactly why all that expectation arose. I mean, he was pretty much flawless against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Did miss one unexpected ball late on, but other than that, it was a fine performance. And then had to come from behind after a rough start against Billy Thorpe last night, but got through comfortably in the end and off to a good start today. Back here, Soufi's missed the 2, and Chua is looking to pounce.
Real tidy pot that, actually. Yeah, look at that angle. You cannot afford to hit the near knuckle. It's too sharp on a pool table. Yeah, didn't play the pot. Just tried to draw the cue ball in behind the 9 and play the 5 off the edge of the 8 ball. So the 5 lands where it has done, so...
The 5 ball's frozen to the rail.
Yeah, you heard Julian say the 5 ball is frozen. That just means another ball needs to hit a rail. But I would imagine the cue ball's definitely going to hit a rail here because he's going to be playing off one of the edges. So let's just say he would roll the cue ball really slow and it would just hit the 5. It would be a foul
called.
because no balls hit a rail, but he's not going to do that. I'm just explaining so you know the rule. Yeah, I like it. It's a pretty good shot. Outside chance at a pot. You could see what he was trying to do. Trying to cut this ball in. Oh, that's beautiful. And it's a beautiful cue ball as well to give himself a shot on this 6 ball. They're not easy then when you've got to slice them so thin.
Yeah, a number of shots, including that one early on, indicate he's starting with this sharpness already in. Both of these players have lost a match in this championship already. Chua won his first in a hill-hill finish against Hamza Ali of Eritrea, narrowly averting an upset. And lost to Jason Shaw in winners' qualification, but beat Alban Ocean, ending his involvement in the championship for this year. And yesterday, 2 contrasting matches, comfortable against Ko Ping Han, and then a hill-hill against Max Lechner.
Nice angle here. He'll just float down the centre of the table. It's been a good rack this for Chua. It's not been easy. He's had to play a few cheeky shots. He's looking strong. I know it's early, but he's looking good.
Yeah, and for the second
Johann
time,
Chua wins the
has
rack.
a rack clear. Very early stages, though, as you say, Carl. 2-1 to the man from the Philippines. From the snow and ice of Poland in February of last year to the intense heat here in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, hosting the World Pool Championship for the very first time, and it's going to be here for many years to come. The first of a 10-year deal. We're at the Prince Abdullah Al Faisal City Sports Hall, watching last 16 action ahead of the championship reaching its conclusion tomorrow night, and somebody taking that first prize of $250,000.
Rack 4, Johann Chua to break, leading by 2 racks to 1.
Johann Chua not only leading this match, but looking very sharp already. 2-1 up on last year's runner-up, Mohammad Soufi. Chua's made the one off the break with both attempts so far.
Yeah, good break off again from Chua. I think the 2-ball, or it was the cue ball, just got flicked. Yeah, he could still cut this ball in. Could also play the bank shot, but you'd always prefer to pop the ball.
Now has he just held on? I think he's okay on the 3. He's having a good look. He's been further than this in the World Championship before. 10 years ago, he got to the quarterfinals. Started playing when he was 9 years old, left school at 13 to concentrate on the game, and has been playing as a professional, effectively, since he was 19.
Extension called.
Yeah, this angle's a little bit steeper than he would have wanted, so he's just got to take a bit of care here. Got to really get into the cue ball. Yeah, that's good.
You know, you win and lose as a team in the World Cup, Carl. You know that as well as anyone. But there always tends to be one player who emerges as the senior partner on the table. And I think most people felt, with all respect to James Arenas, that Chua was in that role in Spain last summer. Is that how you saw it?
I think it was a particular match. I can't remember if it was the final or the semis, but it was just that he seemed to be faced with that one big shot in all the racks. It just kept falling to him, and because he kept pulling the shots off, he seemed to get all the attention. But I remember in the final, I remember Arenas had a long shot, and it was a big moment, and he had to stop the cue ball dead, slightly jacked up off the rail, and hit it beautifully. That was also a big moment.
It all made the Philippines the first nation to win the World Cup 4 times. They had previously shared the all-time record with China, who they almost played in the final before the Chinese lost narrowly to Germany. But that was very unexpected, Carl.
Yeah, how big is this moment going to be? Looking so good, that will just knock the stuffing out of him a little bit, that'll just bring him down a peg or two.
Extension called.
Start to doubt your cue action when you miss cue.
That's it, a shot like that can throw you no matter how well you've been playing. Once more, he's left a chance for Soufi. And I think we know how this movie ends. Very quickly dispatching the 8 of the 9. So Soufi wasn't expecting that chance. Having taken it, he's level again. Very different story, though, in the other 2 matches. Mickey Kraus, well, he's transforming his career here over the last 24 hours or so. 2 fine wins yesterday and racing into a 4-0 lead over Dang Jinhu. Eklund Kachi 3-0 up on Mark Beisterbosch. They've just finished another rack there, Carl. I don't know if you happen to see who won it.
Yeah, I think it was Eklund Kachi who's won it, so I think he's going 4 up.
Yeah, that's just been confirmed. Kachi, who's been a semi-finalist in the World Championship before, and also a finalist in the US Open. So Dang Jinhu up against it early on, against Mickey Kraus. But you couldn't ask for a much more straightforward 9 than this to get your first rack on the board. Well, maybe there was a bit more to it than there appeared at first glance. Either way, the Spanish Open champion has potted us. So 4-1 there, 4-0 Kachi, 2-all here on the main table. As I said, both players have lost a match. Soufi's defeat came in his opening match against Aydin Pikniak of Bosnia and Herzegovina. He's beaten 9-7.
2 racks each.
4 wins in a row since to get to this stage.
Both players are breaking very well. Soufi come racing around the table because look at the purple 5. He was worried it was going to come and stop the potting angle to the 2. I don't know if it has done or not. Well, he can certainly see a piece of the ball, can't he? This lacks pace. This is a poor one. Really poor shot, and as the miscue just started to make Chua think a little bit. It's amazing if he pots the 8 and then the 9, he's 3-1 up with the break, looking like $1 million.
Yeah, there's something about a miscue, isn't there? If you just miss an easy ball just through playing a normal shot badly, generally that's a lot easier to put out of your mind, but a miscue makes you start to question yourself in a really disproportionate way.
Yeah, I always felt a miscue made me just play a little slower from there on in, just making sure I'm not rushing the cue action. Well, Eklund Kachi rather, is at the table again. Things not going Beisterbosch's way just yet. Soufi's got to play a good shot here. Purple 5 is awkward.
Got to tell you, Carl, I hit Jeremy with a number of trivia questions yesterday, and he had probably his best ever day in terms of coming up with the answers. I've got one for you in a moment.
Well, Jeremy's far superior at the quiz game than me, so I'm concerned. Is he going to play the carom? The 8-ball's quite far from the pocket. He would be a braver man than me. The safety, yeah. You can get the hook, but feel like you leave an easy kick. Well, this is poor. He's left Johann Chua the easiest safety of them all. See the disappointment. Always felt like the players that play ridiculously quick always had a poor safety game.
Extension
I
called.
don't know why.
Yeah, it sort of feels like that's the way it should be, but you can't quite put your finger on exactly why that is. I know what you mean. Maybe just the really fast players don't have quite the same level of patience to figure it all out.
Yeah. You have one.
Don't like that safety shot either. But he could have got the cue ball nearer to the 8. That takes away the jump shot
Extension
or the kick.
called.
Yeah, he's changed his mind here. He's going to go off the back rail, try and kick safe.
Yeah, as I said, Sufi lost his first match, then beat Lo Ho Sum, the former World Masters runner-up, to get things up and running. Fine win then against Chang Yung Lin, who's been to the final of this championship in the past, then saw off Lucius Yap and his good friend Badr Alawadi.
Could see the intention, and it actually wasn't far away. He just wanted a fuller hit on the 5. He was trying to get the 5 on that top rail.
Well, this is good, isn't it? This will help him to put that miscue out of his mind from the previous rack. In fact, it was on the 8 into the same pocket he's about to shoot it into again. Near enough the same shot, in terms of the pot anyway. So routine 9, and Chua will be 1 in front for the 3rd time already in this last 16 contest. He leads 3-2. So thanks very much for your company on Sky Sports main event. And if you want to continue watching this, just turn over to Sky Sports Arena, where we continue. Now, let's look in on table 2. We told you Eklund Kachi was 4-0 up on Mark Bijsterbosch, and he has stretched that advantage further. He's, with the last 2 balls he needed to take it to 5-0, and already he's almost halfway to victory. He was really starting to build consistency in his career before that terrible accident last summer. Came back from it a bit earlier than had been anticipated. And playing very well here this week. 5-0 up. And Dang Junhui has got a couple back. He was 4-0 down to Mickey Kraus. He's now closed that to 4-2. So here's your question, Carl. Mohammad Soufi is trying to win the World Championship the year after losing in the final. It's only ever happened once that someone's done that. So who was it?
Pagalayan.
Ah, fantastic. Very good. Beaten by Torsten Homan in 2003 and then champion the following year.
Did I answer it quicker than JJ?
You answered it practically before it even asked it.
Okay, so
yeah,
technically I win.
Very impressive. Well, here's another one for you then. There's only one other player who's lost the final and then come back and even reach the final again the next
Rack
year.
6.
Now that's an easy
Johann
one
Chua
really
to
for a man of your abilities.
Leading by 3 racks to 2.
Bill the Pearl Strickland, surely.
Nope. Player who's lost the final and then got to the final again the next year.
Oh, he's lost the final and got to the final. He's lost the final and got to the final the next year?
Yeah.
Pagulayan?
No. He's a very famous player. Oh, Carl, you were going so well here. Anyway, while you think about that, Chua's had another good break, one in the side and a shot at the two. What do you see beyond that, though, Carl?
Yeah, let's have a look in a moment. Bumpy's missed it. He didn't quite get the right path, did he?
Extension called.
Yeah, it's okay. He's left the bottom rail. Just wondering where that 5 ball is set up to go. He played a shot like this yesterday. Kick combination and ended up winning the rack off the run out. Yeah, that's what he's looking at, you know, and now he's looking at the 3 ball. Stand by your bed here. He's going to go a little bit crazy on this shot. He's looking at the 5 in the side, possibly.
Extension called.
And he's also looked at where the 3 goes off that 5 ball. He feels like it goes towards the 9 ball.
Foul shots.
I'm amazed
Ball
he
in
didn't
hand.
hit the 3 ball there. Amazed. It was an easy kick.
We start the clock.
Obviously there was no huge reward at stake, as in like he knew what was going to happen, but make sure you hit the 3 and good things can happen. Could play the 3-9 combo, but just because the balls are all in the open, the professionals prefer to run them out, really. Unless you feel like the combo is unmissable, you would never really risk playing a combo. Got me stuck on the question, Michael, and I have to give up.
So what we were saying was Sufi trying to win the World Championship the year after losing in the final. You got that quickly. Alex Pagulayan, 2004. The only player to do that. So then I asked you who was the only other player to lose in the final and even get to the final again the next year. I can't believe you're not getting this, Carl.
Yeah, I've had a brain freeze, haven't I?
Yeah. Well, you said Earl Strickland. Now, he won back-to-back. He never lost a world final. Won all 3 of them. So the answer is Shane Van Boning. Lost to Ko Pin Yi in 15 and Alban Ocean in 16.
Jeremy's the king of the quiz, it looks
He
like.
very much is. More of that later. But they've been trading racks 1 for 1 so far. Nobody's won 2 in a row. Never been more than a rack in it. That could all change in a moment. And that miscue on the 8 in rack 4 is becoming a distant memory now for Johann Chua. Lost that rack. But the response has been good. Two in a row and a
Johann
2
Chua
rack
wins
lead.
the rack.
Johann Chua makes it 4-2. Quarter of a century ago this year, Efren Reyes won this World Pool Championship. It's been in the headlines again recently. The new Reyes Cup will be staged for the first time later this year in Manila. Europe versus Asia. Wonderful to see him here on this penultimate day of the World Championship in Saudi Arabia. Eklund Kachi continuing his wonderful progress. He's 3 balls away from going 7-0 up on Mark Bijsterbosch. And Dang Junhui also on a bit of a roll. He trails against Mickey Kraus, but it was 4-0 at one stage. He's got it back to 4-3. And that is the trophy that was won by Francisco Sanchez Ruiz for the first time last year. He went out yesterday at the hands of Mickey Kraus. Still 3 past winners of the title left in it. They're all in the bottom half of the draw. The matches will be seen later on. Peter Gorst, Joshua Filler, and Shane Van Boning. So, Johann Chua.
Rack 7.
He's got a bit of
Johann
daylight.
Chua to break.
He'll start us off.
Leading by 4 racks to 2.
Yeah, after Johann Chua hits this break, I'm going to just tell you something I've spotted on table 2 with Eklund Kachi. Something very interesting, actually.
Make up for getting the question wrong.
I knew the answer, Michael. I was just making Jeremy feel good, that was all. Yeah, so Chua's breaking at probably, I would say, 70% speed. Eklund Kachi is absolutely thumping the break, Michael. You're sat quite close to Eklund, actually. You're to the left. I don't know if you've heard it. He's absolutely ripping the break, and that makes for more opportunities of other balls going down in the pocket, not just the one ball. And I think that was the break that helped him win the UK Open.
Ominous for everyone else, given how well he played in London last year to win it.
That was close. It looked messy, but it just flicked the green 6. Such an unfortunate thing what
Extension
happened to
called.
Kachi, wasn't it, the accident? But, you know, looking back, it's just good that his hand, you know, he's got a massive scar down his left hand, but the fact that he's, you know, the doctors saved his arm and he can still play pool, bit of a miracle, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously no good time for something like that to happen, but the fact he was getting the consistency that maybe his game had been lacking in recent years just made it so much more frustrating. Looks like he's had another good break in rack 8. Back here, Mohammad Soufi. He's hoping to get back to only 1 behind. He's just wonderful for the game, isn't he, Carl? The way he plays, just his whole personality. And he'd be a fantastic world champion if he was to go 1 better.
Well, he brings in that non-pool fan, doesn't he? That's what he does. Unusual style of play. Here again, I don't think he played for this pocket. I think he was playing for left centre, but it's just a bit wild. And I tell you, he does something no one ever does a lot of the time on the 9-ball. He fires it in the pocket. He don't just pot it. He won't do that here, of course, because of the angle. But if he's got a straight 9, he absolutely thumps it. And I'd be scared to death of doing that.
A real crowd pleaser, and you feel he relishes that so much. So back to 1 behind. And let's look at table 2. Eklund Kachi is just playing so well here, and you got a feel for Mark Bijsterbosch. He's put in so much work and so much effort preparing for this championship with Alex Lely, who he's been working hard with for the last year or so. And he's done all the work now to get to the last 16, and he's basically sitting down.
Yeah, from the final 16 onwards, we have a package prize, a break and run prize. That is the most consecutive racks run. I wonder what number Kachi's on. I don't think he's on 7, put it that way, but I bet he's on 3 or 4 in that match. Such a cool customer. He has a phenomenal temperament. He's actually a big guy, isn't he, Michael? You know, he's over 6 foot. He's a bit of a unit, as we say up north. Well, Kachi, that was not on the script. Just as we flicked over to you, we're bigging you up, and you do that.
Yeah, he looks very imposing if you've never actually spoken to him, but then you do speak to him, and just a softly spoken, gentle chap, very friendly.
Yeah, and also whether he misses a ball or he's beat you 11-0, his face doesn't tell you the story. He's got this ability to just go and sit in the chair.
And news from table one,
Mohammad
Dang
Soufi to
Hu
break.
from 4-0 down against
Trailing by
Mickey
4 racks
Krause
to
is now
3.
level at 4 racks all. That is the scoreline Soufi is trying to get to in this rack.
Dry break. Is that the first of the match, Michael?
It is indeed.
I knew you wouldn't get that question wrong. That wasn't a test. I know you've got your notepad.
If I didn't know the answer, I'd just pretend. Not giving you the high ground.
It's not just Sufi who comes with the big shots. Believe me, Chua has got that game. Also, we're talking about Sufi's good for the game. I think Johann Chua's good for the game. He's obviously a Filipino, young man, around 30s. Got the looks, hasn't he? He's got the tattoos. Plays the game the best way, doesn't he? There's something about certain players who the fans just love to watch, and a lot of the fans around the world like to watch the fast players, the attacking players. News on table 2. Well, we're seeing Catchy miss the 3 ball. Bijsterbosch has not took advantage. Catchy's back at the table.
And looking for 8-0. There were certainly a couple of matches last summer where Chua was anything but a crowd pleaser. The first 2 matches of that World Cup campaign for the Philippines, because they played the holders Spain in their own country in the first round and silenced the home fans in Lugo with a 7-5 win. And then as hosts, Spain were able to nominate a B team. The Philippines beat them in the second round. So off the Coe brothers in the quarters in a hill-hill finish. Another hill-hill in the semis against Austria, who had that Ocean and He pairing that's been so successful in the tournament over the years. All of which took them into a final against Germany, which at one stage they looked set to win very comfortably. Villa and Neuhausen came back at them a bit. In the end, Philippines won 11-7. Part of that remarkable fortnight in Lugo. Pretty much this time last year, we had the Spanish Open and then the World Cup in consecutive weeks.
Go in the middle of the pocket. By no means did he, you know, miss the ball and it fell. It's just the way he cued the ball. Back of his mind, he might have thought, I've not cued that one 100%. It's amazing when you hit the cue ball, certainly on long shots, long putts. If you could hit the cue ball and all of a sudden just pause, a professional would tell you if they've potted the ball or not. You just can tell. It's a bit like playing golf, you know, when you hit the golf ball, you find that sweet spot. Pool's exactly the same.
Extension called.
Yeah, the World Cup wasn't the first time he had tasted glory representing his nation. He's been a gold medalist in the Southeast Asian Games a few years ago for the Philippines. It's an Olympic-style multi-sports event, which is a very big deal for all the countries involved. Well, a little bit more of a testing 9 than he would ideally have planned for, but I think you'd still back him for this to go 2 clear again. And he has not delivered, and what an opportunity this is for Sufi.
Yeah, huge, huge mistake here. You've got to get better on the 9-ball because you will miss these from time to time. Them 50-yard, as we call it.
Extension
Sufi's
called.
got a long one. He's queuing out of the pocket. Michael, he will not hold back on this. This will be hit with power.
I was going to say, you were just talking in the previous rack about how he loves to rifle in the 9. Well, here, he's kind of got to. Biggest moment of the match so far, I think it's fair to say. And Mohammad Soufi has not let us down there. So Chua didn't get nice on the 9. Still thought he'd pot it, but he didn't. Soufi has. And from 2 behind, the Syrian has levelled at 4-all.
What a mistake for Chua. He's had a miscue in this match. And then it was this 9-ball into the bottom right corner pocket.
And Soufi mopped up from there. Now, Dang Junhui has made it 5 racks in a row, so now leads Mickey Kraus 5-4. Mark Bijsterbosch did manage to get one on the board. He won rack 8 against Eklund Kachi. It's 7-1 now to the former World Championship semi-finalist from Albania, and he's had 6 break-and runs. Incidentally, the winner of this match will play the winner of that Kraus and Dang contest that's going on. If Kachi can get the 4 remaining racks he needs, then his opponent in the quarters will be either David Al-Kaidi or Jeffrey Ignacio. Ignacio is one of 3 players from the Philippines in the last 16. The only other countries with multiple players left in the tournament are USA and Poland with 2 each. So 12 countries in total still involved in this World Championship.
Well, we're tied at 4-4.
Mohammad Soufi to break. The match is tied, 4 racks each.
This will give Soufi confidence. A couple of easy mistakes from Johann Chua. Yeah, this break's a lot better. Is he going to get a pot on the blue too? I think he has, you know. I think the cue ball's just pulled up. It was the 9-ball what might get the hook. Yeah, he has, so he can pot the 2.
Soufi hasn't been ahead yet at any stage of the match. Chance to change that here.
Cue ball is going to be going into the 5. Got to be careful here. Might try and play the double kiss. No, he's just taking distance. That's okay.
It was a run full of drama to the final last year. Beat the 2001 champion Mika Immonen, Hill in the last 32. Another Hill against Sebastian Batkovsky in the last 16. And just when Albin Ocean was really threatening to equal the all-time record of 3 world titles, Soufi stunned him 11-8 in the quarters. Followed that with victory over Wu Kunlin in the semis. And got off to a good start in the final against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, but just got overtaken in the end by the Spaniard, who won 13-10. And I'll tell you what, he's making this run out look easy, Carl, and the 1 or 2 challenges along the way.
Yeah, a couple of long pots thrown in. And the positional shot onto the green 6, the main thing, even though the cue ball was near the rail, he had angle.
So Chua had a break and run in the opening rack. Now Soufi's
Mohammad
had one
Soufi
in the 9th. He's won
rack.
3 in a row, and he leads for the first time in this last 16 contest at the World Championship. One of the many highlights of the 2023 season was the Spanish Open final in Lugo, and contrasting fortunes at the moment for the two players who were involved in it. Dang Junhui was 4-0 down here against Mickey Kraus, but he's now leading by 6 racks to 4, half a dozen in a row. Kraus from Denmark at the table, though, looking to get back to 1 behind. And Mark Bijsterbosch, who so nearly won that final in Spain last year, he's well behind in his match against Eklund Kachi. He has, though, won a couple in a row, but still a long road back for Bijsterbosch. He trails 7-2. So he's looking for a turnaround there. Mohammad Soufi has achieved one here, 3 in a row. He now leads for the first time at 5 racks to 4. So that's only the second time in the match that either player has failed to make the 1 off the break. Both times it's been Soufi. Indeed, that's twice in the last 3 that he hasn't managed to do it. But what's he left?
Not a great deal. We're just seeing it from the camera angle. He's hooked on the 1. Jump shot, no, not very inviting. You've got to hit the ball too thin.
Well, Chua was looking very sharp early on, but he's throwing up plenty of chances for Soufi. Here's another one. Chua, as we've said, a World Cup winner in Spain almost exactly a year ago. Soufi was there as well, paired with Zaid Al-Shariti for Syria's first ever World Cup appearance. They played China. 3-time winners in the first round, and China did win, but pretty respectable, really. 7-3, the final score.
Got to play this with right-hand spin. Got to be a bit careful with a pot. Cue ball, 3 rails, middle of the table. Perfect. Important this in the context of the match, because it's been Chua who had early chances to take a lead and keep Mohammad under pressure. He's not capitalised on that, and now Soufi has a chance. Just very easy on the eye, isn't it? Forget the 30-second shot clock, give him a 10-second shot clock.
I think he'd still laugh at it. And the thing is as well, this must be very hard to be up against, because we've just seen racks go on the side of the other guy on the board in no time at all. There's another one, 4 in a row for Soufi. So now he's a couple clear at 6-4. And this, Carl, is how Soufi got in.
Yeah, didn't like it. Didn't like going for the jump shot straight out the gate. You got to hit the ball so thin, very low percentage.
Mickey Kraus did not win that rack that we looked in on over on table 1 against Dang Junhui. It's gone the way of the only Chinese player in the field here. So Dang has now won 7 in a row, and he leads 7-4. Kraus had to come from behind against Billy Thorpe yesterday. Has to do it again today. Now, these are live pictures from the other match that's going on at the moment. Eklund Kachi, a couple of balls away from an 8-2 lead. Was 7-0. He had 6 breaking runs on the way to that scoreline. After winning consecutive racks, it looks as though Dutchman Bijsterbosch is going to lose this one. And the Albanian is already just 3 away from a place in tonight's quarterfinals. So Sufi on a roll in terms of winning racks.
Rack 11, Mohammad
Two
Soufi
of his
to
last
break.
three breaks
Leading
have
by
been
6
dry.
racks to 4.
Let's see how he fares this time.
Good break off again, and he's going to have some form of shot, Michael, on the 2. Both balls was at the bottom of the table. What's he faced with? Oh, well, he isn't. The 9 ball looks like...
Push out call.
It has, so there's the push out call.
Even chalks the cue with remarkable rapidity. Did it about 50 times there.
Johann, it's your choice.
So how do you read this one, Carl?
Yeah, it's one of them where you'd just like to be behind the shot where Chua is, because it's hard to make a call because I don't know exactly how much of the ball he can see, but I'll put it this way, if he can see enough of it where the cue ball just goes behind the purple and the green 6, he'll have been down and played the shot already.
Play again,
Doesn't
please,
like
Mohammad.
it. I think you can just see a little edge, Michael, looking at that angle, which means he's going to thin off it and get the cue ball back over to the side of the table where he stood. But listen, trying to predict what Mohammad Soufi does on a pool table is not easy. Clever shot. He's rolled the 2 ball on the left long rail, knowing that it doesn't pop because the pink is in the way.
As I said, Chua's been to the quarterfinals before. He's already gone 1 round further than he did last year. Was beaten by big event specialist Max Lechner in the last 32 in Poland in 2023. Really, you know, for all the talk about his World Cup win and his ability, he didn't do well in the matchroom individual events last year. Last 32, as I said, at the Worlds. It was the same at the European Open, the same at the Hanoi Open. And even in the Spanish Open, where he beat Joshua Filler 9-1 in winners qualification. He then went out in the last 64 to the young Norwegian, Emil Andre Gangflo. So plenty of opportunities to go deep in a big matchroom event.
Extension called.
Didn't happen.
I don't think he can pot the ball with the jump shot. I think the only way he pots the ball is playing a double jump. He's got to jump over the 7, then jump over the edge of the 8. This is as rare as it comes. If he's going for the pot and he gets this, this will go viral. He tried it. He tried the double jump. Well, I hope we can get a replay of that, Michael, because I want to see where the cue ball jumped over the 8. Watch this, the double jump. Yeah, just didn't quite hit the 2 full enough, but that's what he was trying. He's missed this ball. Johann Chua just started to drop off the pace a little bit here. Such a good start. The very first rack, put out a few long balls, looked so good. 5 missed pots.
The old line, fortune favours the brave. I think it's applied here for Soufi. Took on that double jump. Didn't get it, but ultimately it's led to him having this chance. And that's not a bad start.
What a change of events on table 1, Michael.
8 in a row for Dang Jinhu. Mickey Krause is watching his World Championship dream slip through his fingers. It's 8-4 now to the Chinese player.
That's what people don't understand at the professional level of 9-ball pool. You've got to stay in there. We seen it yesterday, didn't we, in this little sort of mini arena of 6 tables. Joshua Filler 9-4 down, playing Fitam Haradinaj, wins 11-9. Fedor Gorst was 7-0 down in a race to 11 and then 8-1 down and got the victory. This is what can happen. You've never got to give up at this game. Sufi's scratched here, I believe. Yes, he has.
Foul shot.
A reprieve for Chua.
Ball in hand. Please start the clock.
Well, a lot of Sufi's turnaround in this match has been based on picking up on Chua's errors. Now, the Philippines player has got to reverse roles.
Of course, he didn't play the treble. He fluked the treble. He was playing the cross bank. This will just settle him down.
Just thinking, by the way, Carl, if Dang does get through, which looks even more likely now because it's just gone 9-4, the prospect of Dang against Sufi in the quarters. What a crowd pleaser that would be.
Yeah, you could. There would be an argument for saying Dang Junhui is the second fastest player on the circuit. I know the legend, the Maltese legend, Tony Drago, he was up there. He would give Sufi a run for his money, to be fair. Imagine watching that match, Mohammad Soufi versus Tony Drago.
Okay, so Chua had to make ball in hand
Chua
count there,
wins the
and he
rack.
has. Big rack that, you feel? He's only one behind now at 6-5. Of course, he'll be breaking in the next rack, and he's made the one in the side with all 5 of his breaks so far. So 9-4, as I said, for Dang Jinhu against Mickey Krause. And Eklund Kachi is leading Mark Beisterbosch 8-2. Still to come, we've got 3 former winners of this title. Shane Van Boning against Wojciech Szewczyk. Van Boning, the 2022 champion. Joshua Filler, winner in 2018, taking on Anton Raga. And the 2019 champion, Fedor Gorst, will face the only remaining British player, Yorkshireman Chris Melling. The other match coming up later, Viktor Zielinski of Poland, taking on Portugal's João Grillo. Efren Reyes has been the centre of attention since he arrived here an hour or 2 ago. A quarter of a century this summer since he became world champion. Like every sport, there's a bit of a conversation in terms of who is the GOAT, greatest of all time. He is very much in the foreground of that discussion. Just trying to get the rack absolutely right. It's so vital for players at this level.
Yeah, the referees, they don't get enough applauded, really. They're under pressure because they're the first person a pool player will stare down if they feel that rack is not good enough. And there's usually an indication. If the 9-ball comes straight down towards the bottom rail,
Rack
it means
12.
it's been a
Johann
loose
Chua
rack.
to break. Trailing by 6 racks to 5.
And if the 9 stays in the plastic diamond, it means it's a good rack. Yeah, you can see the 9-ball stayed there, so we'll give Julian 95% pass rate there on that rack. It moved a little bit, Michael.
Well, I'll tell you who's got a 100% rate, and that's Chua in terms of potting the one in the side, 6 out of 6.
Little floater. The bigger pocket, the slide helped him. That helps that type of shot. Because you know you can just go near the rail.
You were talking earlier about coming with the big shots at the right times during that run to winning the World Cup that he had with the Philippines last summer. But none of that really called for here. This looks pretty routine. It seems we're going to be level again. We always felt, and we said right at the start, it looks evenly matched. Seems as though they're going to go into the home straight in this match. Dead level.
Aim was very low on the cue ball then, but upon strike he hired his Q-tip. Things not going well for Mark Bijsterbosch as I glanced over to his table. He missed a 9-ball. Catches back at the table. And he's 8-2 in front.
Yeah, 9 is hanging over the side pocket. So it looks like Kachi is going to get within a couple of racks of a place in the last 8. Johann Chua, meanwhile, has this to make it 2 in a row. And draw us level once again. 2 down off the break, and he proceeded from there. Johann Chua has drawn level with Mohammad Soufi at 6-all. So hard to pick a winner now. It's the last 16 of the World Championship, and Mark Bijsterbosch of the Netherlands, 8-2 down to Kachi, trying to make something happen with the 9, but missed it and left it over the side. The big Albanian stepping in to claim a 7-rack lead here. 11 is the target for a place in the quarters. Getting down for a very good look. Kachi has been a semi-finalist in the World Championship. He's 2 racks away from getting within 1 win of making the last 4 again. 9-2 there.
Break. The match is tied, 6 racks each.
Staging a bit of a late revival. He lost 9 in a row to trail 9-4 against Dang Junhui, but he's won a couple in a row himself now. So the Chinese player is now leading 9-6. Here on the main table, dead level, 6-all, as Johann Chua breaks in the 13th.
Yeah, he's got a shot at the blue too. And the table layout looks very inviting. Look at the split. 2 to the 3 is okay because he's got an angle, and then the pink 4 is near the 3. All these balls just connect nicely. Even the 7 to the 8 and then the 8 to the 9's easy. Oh, this is a very kind split for Chua.
I was saying, Carl, before you joined me at the top of the show, it's really unusual to come to the final 16 of the premier event in any sport and look down the draw and see at most maybe one or two guys who you can't realistically see winning it. Pretty much everyone there you can realistically see as a world champion.
Yeah, there's a lot of players in there who have won big 9-ball tournaments. So what are you saying, Michael?
What we can definitely say is there will be at least one player in the final bidding to win it for the first time, because the 3 past winners of the championship are all in the same half of the draw.
Yeah, it's actually quite hard to believe we're pretty much only halfway through the event as well. Still, somebody is going to have to win 4 matches to pick up the trophy, and if you've gone undefeated at this point, you've only played 4 matches.
Fedor Gorst probably feels he's played 2 tournaments already this week, the number of racks it's taken him to get through. We'll see him later against the last remaining British player, Chris Melling. Still 3 left from the Philippines though, and one of them is at the table looking to regain the lead. Mark Meisterbosch has put that miss on the 9 behind him to win the next rack, but still a long road back. Eklund Kachi leading 9-3 there.
Extension called.
So the last time Chua led in this match was at 4-3. He then lost all of the next 3 racks. Looked as though he might lose the 11th as well, but won it. Then a break and run in the 12th. And now he's got this to get back in front again. Another very solid rack for Johann Chua. He's 4 away from a place in the quarterfinals. He now leads Mohammad Soufi 7-6. Dang Jinhu is even closer to getting through. He has won rack 16, 10-6 up now against Mickey Kraus. Now Joshua Filler looked set to win the European Open in his home country last summer, but Anton Raga had other ideas in the semi-final. He won it by 11 racks to 9, and they will meet again in the next match on the main table. There they are, arriving at the venue here in Jeddah a short time ago. So Mohammad Soufi did look to be taking control, but he's opened the door a bit and now finds himself behind. And a reminder that Dang Jinhu, if he gets that one more rack that he needs against Mickey Kraus, will face the winner of this match. Jason Ferguson there on the right, the chairman of the World Professional Billiards and Snooker Association, and someone who, in that role, has worked so hard to try to bring about a lot of cooperation between all the Q sports. His big mission is to get Q sports into the Olympics. Hasn't happened for him yet. I believe he is targeting Brisbane perhaps now, and maybe if that doesn't happen, he'll just keep going until he manages to achieve it. You would have loved to play in the Olympics, Carl. You're shaking your head, why not?
Well, I just don't really it's just not something that
Rack
I've ever
14,
associated
Johann
pool
Chua
with.
break.
I think certain
Leading by
sports
7
are
racks to
famous
6.
because of the Olympics.
Yeah, but if it had happened in your time as a top player, the chance to win an Olympic gold medal.
No, I'd rather win the World 9-ball Championships, to be quite honest.
Yeah, there's nothing to say you can't win them both.
No, I just don't. It just doesn't sit with me.
Okay, fair enough. Johann Chua has been a gold medalist in the Southeast Asian Games. He's leading here.
Well, not only is he leading, Michael, look at the split again. All the balls are there, nice. Having a look at the big screen. I presume he was just looking at where the one went. He was just seeing how far away from the side pocket it was.
Being watched by certainly the greatest from his home country. First time that Chua has not made the one off the break in this match. I think he'll be making it in a moment. Eklenkachi closing in on a place in the quarterfinals here. He's looking for 8 and 9. These are live pictures.
Yeah, slightly hampered. He put the cue ball there. He was playing the 7 ball in the pocket where he's crouched over.
So Kachi going to the hill. If he gets through his quarter-final, could be a clash of players who both won Matchroom major titles last year, because he will face either Jeffrey Ignacio or the European Open champion, David O'Cady. So Bijsterbosch has now got to win 8 in a row. Seem to remember someone else coming from 10-3 down to win a match on the Friday of the World Championship 2 years ago. Shane Van Boning, and he went on to win the whole thing. And another player who only needs one more is Dang Jinhu, and he looks pretty close to achieving it. He was 4-0 down in this match, but if he can pot 8 and 9, that will be 11 out of the last 13 racks for Dang Jinhu. And while he tries to do that, big developments on the main table, Carl.
Well, he played a wonderful positional shot to get on the 8, Dang, and then he's just played a shocker, so it's going to be a bank shot to book his place to this evening's quarterfinals. Yeah, Johann Chua had a really good table layout. Made a mess of him. Well, Dang Junhui had a chance to win the match. It was easy. He just didn't hit the 8 ball to get on the 9. Things like that can start to get away from you a little bit. If Kraus can somehow pot this tricky 9 ball that he's faced with, things could start to get a little funky over there. It's an easy chance to win.
Well, things look to be slipping away from Mohammad Soufi. The last time he was at the table, he was leading 6-4. He lost that rack, didn't get involved in the next 2. But Chua has led him back in here. And this 9 is to make them level again.
Mohammad Soufi wins the rack.
7-all. So let's go to table 1. Full focus there. This is match ball for Dang Jinhu. He's flying the flag alone for China here in Saudi Arabia this week, and he will fly it all the way into the quarterfinals. Dang Jinhu, from 4-0 down early on, has beaten Mickey Kraus 11-6. He is the first player through to tonight's quarterfinals. Mickey Kraus looks absolutely crestfallen, but what a good week it's been for him. Beat the defending champion, got to the last 16. It's a big step forward for him. He'll obviously shoot up the world rankings, continuing a good run he's been on recently. But just like at the UK Open, he goes out at the last 16 stage.
Yeah, I know how it feels. I've been 4-0 up myself in the semi-finals of the World Championships and ended up losing the match. You feel like it's all going your way. You've won the first 4 racks. You're thinking, happy days, it's my day, and then an hour later, you're out. Good win though from Dang. Obviously under pressure to lose the opening 4, come back strong. He has a real big chance of winning this event, does Dang Jinhu.
Yeah, sometimes you look at guys who play really quickly and there are question marks about their temperament, but I felt with Dang at the Spanish Open last year, nothing seemed to faze him at all. It's 12-10 down in the final, won the last 3 racks to take it. So we'll see Dang in the quarters later. But how on earth do you make a call as to who he's going to face, because this match has swung one way and the other throughout. Mohammad Soufi has just left the room for a moment to take a break. Johann Chua left alone with his thoughts. Catchy has just returned to the table, over on 2. Looks as though he may have a chance to finish it off. Efren Reyes, 1999 world champion, but so much more to his career than that. An absolute legend in his home country, really much more so than any pool player would be capable of in almost any other country in the world. I guess that Vietnam had a big star in the game right at the top of the rankings. They'd become a national icon as well. Countries like that, 100 million population, and the game just absolutely massive. Yeah, so Catchy's made that 3, and this is a chance now, Carl, to book his spot in the last 8. He's looking very good.
One more good shot to play. He's got to try and find that gap after potting the pink 4, just to leave the cue ball somewhere where he can get through the brown 7 and the 9 ball. He's 2 shots away from being in the quarterfinals. If he gets this one right and he lands on the 6 with a bit of an angle, this is over. Good to see Catchy back in the latter stages. I know myself and Jeremy we believe Catchy was on the quest of being the greatest player on the tour. He got to the final of the Masters, lost to Ko Ping-yi, and then a couple of weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later, he won the UK Open before that accident. So
Tell you someone else will be pleased to see Catchy going well is Jason Shaw, because how much of an asset would an in-form Eklund Catchy be to the European Mosconi Cup team in Florida later in the year? Been a Mosconi winner in the past, Catchy, but there was always a feeling he didn't bring his best on the Mosconi stage. A few years on, having missed out on the team for the last couple of years, he'd love to put that right. You're not missing anything on the main table. We're still waiting for Mohammad Soufi to come back in. No, he is back now, but we will stay with this for a moment because these are the last 2 shots Eklund Catchy hopes. We're still missing nothing on the main table anyway because they haven't started the next rack yet.
Yeah, the powers of TV will hold that match until Eklund Catchy slots this 9 ball home. He's broke and run a lot of racks. We don't know the exact figure, but we know he's been breaking full power.
The 2 standout events in the game are the World Championship and the US Open. He's been to the final of the latter in the past, and he's now potentially just a couple of wins away from getting to the final of this World Championship. But the form he's showing, he may well
15,
end up winning
Mohammad
it.
Soufi to
Catchy
break.
and
The match
Dang
is tied,
both through to the
7
last
racks
8.
each.
Who'll be next to join them?
Yeah, entering the table 2 arena. Coming up, it will be SVB. Shane Van Bonen against Wojciech Szewczak from Poland. Well, no balls on the break.
Yeah, and worrying figures for Soufi. It's 3 dry breaks now in his last 5 attempts. Nicely done. Been a real treat this to start today's play, and you look at Filler and Raga coming up next. Well, it's almost impossible to see that not being a wonderful match as well.
The game just wants to find that big gap, so the cue ball goes through the purple and the brown 7. Still got to get the pace right of these though. It's easy to over-hit it or under-hit it. Yeah, anywhere near the kitchen is perfect for the pink 4. We're 14 racks in, Michael, and it's still impossible to pick who's going to win this match. It's just trading back and forth.
Yeah, there was a brief period there, say about 4 or 5 racks ago, where it looked like Sufi was going to take control, but it's just not been that sort of match where either one's gone on any kind of a streak of any great length.
Yeah, and it was Chua in the early few racks where he looked like the one who was going to go on.
Extension called.
To put a few racks together. Yeah, he keeps looking at up at the big screen because that's where the shot clock is. So he just wants to see what time he's got left.
Funny how he almost looks like a slow player in this match, purely by comparison with Sufi, who's so fast. Breaking really has been a massive part of the narrative of this last 16 encounter so far, and so it's proved again. Sufi came up dry. He's had a few of those in recent racks, and he's going to pay the price. Chua was 6-4 down, but he's very much had the better of it since. He now needs 3 more to go through. Chua leading 8-7. Mohammad Soufi looked as though he may be taking control of this last 16 encounter when he won 4 racks in a row to lead by 6 racks to 4. But since then, Johann Chua has steadily established control of proceedings. He's won 4 of the last 5 racks. He leads 8-7. He's about to break in rack 16. And if he can find 3 more,
rack 16,
then he will be through to the quarterfinals of the World Championship.
Leading back 8 racks to 7.
Once again.
I think Chua has been the better breaker slightly, Michael, hasn't he? Consistently potting that one more than Sufi. There's another example. Just can't find a shot though. And he's getting some tricky push-out options and all because the ball's landing near the corner pocket.
Push out called.
There's the push out. Always tell the referee. We have seen it once this week.
Mohammad, it's your choice.
A player didn't tell the referee. It was actually against Fedor Ghost. Chen it was. And it was 8-7 to Ghost. Chen didn't call push out. Referee said foul. Fedor won 9-7.
Play again, please, Johann.
Passed. Back over to Chua. Chua must play the shot. Plays a slow kick. Well, you could see what he was attempting a little bit harder. And he would have got the hook. Now he may well be in trouble.
We've mentioned Shane Van Bonin and Wojciech Szewczyk just about to start on table 2. They're having their practice racks. Also practice racks on table 1. David O'Cady and Jeffrey Ignacio. Winner of that to play, Eklund Kachi.
Foul shot. Ball in hand.
The slow kick and
Please start the
stick
clock.
safety is the reason why Chua has just given up ball in hand. It's all starting to unravel from that poor shot he played a couple of shots ago. One shot, ball in hand, put it anywhere on the table.
You know, there are certain things you can always rely on. And just as I mentioned, David O'Cady about to start, his big pal Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, the now deposed champion, has just walked into the room to lend his support. I remember when FSR won this last year, I was standing just right at the back of the arena and David was standing right beside me. He looked even more delighted and emotional than Fran himself.
Yeah, David and Fran, very, very good friends. Not just at the pool events. A lot of pool players might be friendly when they're at events, but not when they're at home. But them two, they're good friends at home as well. So last year, David was the cheerleading club for Ruiz. This year, roles reversed. Lost the cue ball a little bit, just a bit shy of pace. And he's missed the ball. How big of a moment is this? This is the problem when you play super quick. Your cue ball is not as tight as other professionals on the circuit. What a moment.
Well, we've had so many obvious turning points in the match. That has the look of perhaps being the most significant juncture of all. Because really, at this stage of the match, the difference between being level and having 2 in it is colossal. And also, of course,
Extension called.
Chua can polish off 8 and 9. Not only will he be 2 in front, be breaking again in the next rack. And as you said, Carl, he's been so effective in that department. Yes, he's not always had a great opportunity coming off the break, but he's been making balls, and that gives you the opportunity to play the next one and take control of the rack. And speaking of control, he's got the cue ball exactly where he wants it there. This to go too clear.
Yeah, also, Michael, you know, I know it's the World Championships, the biggest prize fund we've seen. So, of course, players here are focusing on the World Pool Championships. But we've got a little thing called the Reyes Cup coming up. Valuable points at stake.
What's at stake now is a quarter-final place.
Wins the rack.
Johann Chua is just a couple of racks away from claiming it. He now leads 9-7. Eklenkachi, a winner earlier against Mark Bijsterbosch, winning by 11 racks to 3, and afterwards we got his thoughts via Jeremy Jones.
Obviously a good win out there with that scoreline. How'd you feel, Kachi?
I played pretty good. I had a good start. I broke good, made a couple good jumps in the beginning, and he didn't really have many chances. He got in the table on 7-0. I missed the ball, and then I missed the bank. But yeah, I mean, he did have some chances, but basically, kind of it was too late.
Yeah, I understand. You know, I personally think after your UK win last year, you were going to #1 in the world. From what I saw, in sports, we sometimes got to reset for all kinds of reasons. How you feel now after, of course, having to recoup from some things compared to last year?
I mean, I'm happy to be back. I'm playing good pool, and yeah, I cannot say I'm 100%, but at least I'm winning. I'm playing good. I still need some things with my hands to get a little bit stronger, so I'm a little bit more consistent, because my bridge kind of gets tired after a while. And I mean, just a win is a win. Doesn't matter how you do it.
Yeah, well, a few hours off till you play this evening. Anything particular you're going to do?
Yeah, probably just eat something small and take a rest and get ready for the next match.
Yeah, well, good luck, Eklund, and good shooting.
Thank you, JJ.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, he looks quite imposing when you first see him, but then you speak to him like that, and he's very warm and engaging, as he was there. And he now awaits the winner of the match between David O'Cady and Jeffrey Ignacio. And it's Ignacio, one of 3 Philippines players to make it to this last 16, who's taken the opener there. Speaking of Philippines players, Efren Reyes, well, he's not getting a moment's peace, is he, Carl? He's come here to watch a bit of the pool, and everyone wants to have a chat with him.
Yeah, the fellow with the hat on, he's Roland Garcia. He played in the World Championships this year.
Yeah, and has been to the final
Rack
of it
17,
before.
Johann Chua to break.
Okay,
Leading
so
by
Johann
9 racks
Chua
to 7.
probably wasn't expecting to win that 16th rack, but he was let in towards the end, took care of business, and now he's hoping to bring that effective break once more. 2 more needed for victory. And now, make that just 1. What a time to pull
Johann
out a
Chua
golden
wins
break.
the rack.
And it's the first time in the match there's been more than 2 in it either way. Well, we talked about that miss from Sufi and what a massive moment it could be in the previous rack. It looks so much bigger now because it let Chua in to win, to keep the break, and to make a golden break. All of a sudden, Carl, it's 10-7.
Yeah, I was thinking 3 or 4 racks ago, not had a golden break yet in this match. Well, what a time for Johann Chua to find one. And the missed 7 ball is a double bubble because Sufi has been paid the ultimate punishment for that miss.
And now...
Well, it's been such a theme of the championship so far. Golden breaks at big moments. We've seen a number of big matches clinched in that way. And now, Chua has taken himself to the brink of victory with a GB.
Yeah, and if he is feeling it a little bit, the fact that he's 10-7 up with that little bit of breathing space will make him feel a lot better.
So that is now 6 of the last 7 racks going the way of Johann Chua. It didn't look like the sort of match that was going to see either player do that, but we often see it, don't we? It's close a lot of the way, and then someone gets a late burst. Chua's had a bit of help from Sufi, and he's delivered himself. Bit of fortune there, as is always required for a golden break. But you love to talk about the pool gods, Carl. I think they were at play there again.
Yep, this is part of being a pool player.
Rack
These are the
18,
ups and
Johann
downs
Chua to
in your
break. Leading by
emotions.
10 racks to 7 on the hill.
This is why when you're a pool player, you've got to try and have a fantastic temperament. Probably more than any other sport I've seen, because there's so much ups and downs, twists and turns.
Chua breaking so well, and now breaking on the hill.
And it's a dry break. But Michael, you know when he made the miscue on the 8, and he was sat in his chair and he was thinking, oh, things going to start slipping away from me, and now how will he feel sat in his chair? He's going to feel so different.
So from the golden break to his first dry break of the match.
Well, this is tight, obviously. Whenever a player gets quite low down on the table to have a look, it means it's tight, but usually it does mean it goes. Got to hit this with a lot of topspin to get the cue ball tracking back down towards the 2 ball. Don't think he's got the... What a good effort. He jumped over the edge of the 9. What a replay. Yeah, I'm actually stood right behind the line of his shot. His full ball hooked. Long pot success, just at 75% for Sufi. Kicking off the back rail. Want to be careful for the scratch. He'll be happy with that one. He will be happy with that.
Jeffrey Ignacio's added another one, now leads David O'Cady 2-0, and Wojciech Szewczyk has taken the first rack against the champion of 2 years ago, Shane Van Boning. Van Boning here looking to become only the 6th player ever to win this on multiple occasions. Same can be said obviously of Joshua Filler and Fedor Gorst. You said he'd be happy with the outcome of the previous shot, a good deal happier now, because it's forced a real chance now for Sufi to start what needs to be a big comeback.
Yeah, we've seen many a match one needing just 4 racks. Feels like a tall order when you're in the chair of Sufi, but it really isn't. When I played, Michael, I used to think, oh, I need a miracle in this situation, but over the years being in the chair commentating, I feel so different about it now. Sufi's, well, I was just about to say he's still in this match, but well, he's got lucky. He's got extremely lucky, because if the 4 ball doesn't land there, he's lost the match.
Yeah, we saw him shake hands with Francisco Sanchez Ruiz before the Spaniard got the chance to pop the winning 9-ball last year. I think if he had left the 4 on, he might have felt like shaking hands prematurely again.
Just wondering if there's a combo bank on
Extension called.
If he hits the cue ball into the 4 full, get the cue ball moving quick, will it bank off the bottom rail into the top pocket? No, he's playing safe. No, he has played that, sorry. Has he fluked it?
Has it got the legs? Has it got the legs? Oh, not quite. It was tracking. It was online.
Yeah, just hit it a little bit harder. It would have gone in.
You have one, yes. Extension called.
Yeah, two-way shot. He played the bank, and he also played the cue ball into the 9 in case he misses the bank. Watch the cue ball as well. There you could see, fires it into the 9. It was close. Long pot has been at 75%. Oh, that puts the percent up. That keeps him in the World Championship, Sufi.
That's just amazing, isn't it? 10-7 down, knows if he misses, it's probably the end of his adventure here in Jeddah, and just gets down, strokes it in so nonchalantly. And now he's probably going to get back to 2 behind, breaking in the next rack. This is still alive, Carl.
It is, and when he missed that 4 ball, cued it terribly. Come down and sat on the 9. If he goes anywhere else, Chua's probably in the interview room.
What an eventful rack that was.
Mohammad
It's gone the
Soufi
way of Mohammad
wins the rack.
Soufi. Chua's lead trimmed to 10-8. Efren Reyes, be 70 later this year. One of the all-time legends of the game. World champion exactly a quarter of a century ago, and so much else to his wonderful, unparalleled story. He's looking on here as his compatriot Johann Chua tries to get through to the quarterfinals of the World Championship. And he attempted to finish it off in spectacular fashion. Didn't happen, but then it looked as though the 9 might just creep in at the other end of the table. It always looked odds against that it would have the pace to find its way to the pocket. Mohammad Soufi showed plenty of pace, cleaning up the rack, and he's back to only 2 behind now.
Rack 19, Mohammad Soufi to break. Trailing by 10 racks to 8.
He's hit some good breaks and he's hit some bad ones, so it's been inconsistent. What's he got this time in rack 19? It's dry. He's coming round. He's desperately looking at what he's left. Oh, he's left the gap. Chua can pot the 1. Look at the gap he's found here. Now a quick scan around the table tells me that it is a half chance this. The purple 5 is going to have to be played as a combo on the 8. Oh, and let me tell you, Mohammad Soufi sat in his chair. He'll be scanning the table, Michael. We have this ability to read the rack, read the table from our chair. Little thin one on the blue 2, but he can kind of spin this one in. A little floater. Yeah, that's the shot I was talking about. Just flick it in with a little left English, centre of the table. It's all about this combo that he's looking at, even though he's not playing that shot now. We just like to start thinking about that shot. It's in a couple of shots' time.
Not much in it, but fair to say overall he's been the better player, certainly the better breaker. This is his chance to make it all count. As the greatest of his nation looks on.
Yeah, I wonder what he has made of this match, Efren. If you could pick his brains apart, what would he tell you? It's been back and forth this match.
Called.
It's been hard to pick a winner. Whenever we have one of these big pool tournaments, whether it's the World Champs or the US Open or one of the Open events, if there's double figures of Filipinos in the tournament, there's always a handful left, isn't there, when you get to the final 16? 3 left here in the final 16.
Well, they were well into double figures at the start, 13 of them in total. Joint most of anyone, along with the host nation.
I just took a little glance at table 2, SVB 1, Wojciech Shevchuk 1. Shevchuk just missed a very easy 6-ball. Shane jumped out of the chair. Wow, I'm surprised he played that. Real surprised he's played that. You never see pros, it's very rare, bumping into a ball. He's tried to draw the cue ball into the 7, knock the 7 on the right hand side of the table. Then he can just play a stop shot on the 6, but he didn't catch the 7 right. Still a bit of life left in this match. He's got to pinch it. He's going forward, 2 rails. Looks good if it comes off. Nice, very nice.
Mohammad Soufi lit up the 2023 World Championship in Kielce in Poland around about 16 months ago. You wouldn't say he's done a great deal in the big events since then, but the biggest of them all seemed to inspire him again this week. He thrilled and entertained us once again. And he was in a good position in this match when he led by 6 racks to 4. But in the end, he's been overtaken by Johann Chua, who has won 7 of the last 9 racks. He defeats Mohammad Soufi 11-8. Chua once again is into the quarterfinals, and there he will face the Spanish Open champion, the only Chinese player in the field, Dang Jinhu.